Hello and good evening. Here is the news at 9. First, the highlights. Lagos State government set to inculcate financial literacy for indigent women. House of Representatives urges federal government to increase budget allocation for Bureau of Public Procurement. On the 14th European Commission President to present new plan on migrant deportations. And in sports, South Africa defeats Australia in semi-final of T20 Cricket World Cup in Dubai. And now the details. I am Akan Usen. In a bid to strengthen its financial inclusion policy, Lagos State government has commenced the process of inculcating financial literacy for indigent women in hard-to-reach communities as an integral part of the Sustainable Development Goals. While speaking with journalists during a press conference in Alausa, Special Advisor to the Governor on Sustainable Development Goals, Oreoluwa Fini Awokoya, noted that the first phase of the intervention targets 100 women per community in 14 local government areas of the state. Fini Awokoya, who commended the development partners on the project, urged other institutions and the private sector to join the human capital development efforts to bridge the gap for women in communities that have been underserved, and more on SDG projects.
And for us here at the Office of Sustainable Development Goals, it's never about going it alone. We believe very much in SDG 17, which is Partnership for the Goals. It pronounces our responsibility and steady efforts to bridge the financial inclusion gap, especially for women in communities that have been underserved for years.
Representatives of the partners on the project with the Lagos State Office of Sustainable Development Goals appreciated the efforts of the state government in supporting financial inclusion for women and promoting awareness among them for empowerment. The theme of the project is promoting capital HCD in Lagos State through advocacy for women's financial inclusion in hard-to-reach communities and increased awareness of data's role in delivering better HCD outcomes. Lagos State Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation, WAPA, has successfully empowered approximately 100 women in the Etiosa East Local Council Development Area, LCDA, with essential skills and business equipment aimed at enhancing their financial independence and self-reliance. Commissioner for WAPA, Bolaji Dada, said the training program with the theme Life Skills Economic Empowerment Program for residents of Etiosa East equipped participants with a variety of vocational skills, including makeup application, headgear tying, catering, throw pillow creation, fabric stoning and embellishment, and soap making. Dada said each beneficiary also received a comprehensive startup pack containing the necessary tools to immediately launch their businesses from home. She emphasized the initiative's goal of fostering entrepreneurship among women, providing them not only with skills, but also with the equipment needed to thrive economically. The Senate has passed for second reading a bill seeking to create a legal framework for transactions between large corporations and micro, small, and medium enterprises. The proposed legislation, titled Factoring Assignments and Receivables Financing Bill 2023, aims to promote transparency, certainty, and adequate protection for both creditors and debtors, ultimately enhancing access to capital and credit. Chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance, and Other Financial Institutions, Tokubo Abiru, said the bill is designed to facilitate both domestic and international trade. According to Abiru, the bill will provide a mechanism whereby contractual rights to payment from a debtor can be transferred to a third party referred to as the factor. He emphasized that the bill will help MSMEs secure funding from banks and financial institutions for supply orders received from large corporations. Now to the rest of the stories. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to increase the yearly budgetary allocation to the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, to enable it to effectively discharge its constitutional mandates. The BPP is the regulatory authority responsible for monitoring and overseeing public procurement, harmonizing existing government policies and practices by regulating, setting standards, and developing the legal framework and professional capacity for public procurement in Nigeria. The resolution of the House was sequel to the adoption of a motion at plenary on the need to review the budgetary allocation of the Bureau of Public Procurement, moved by the lawmaker representing Ukanafon, Oruk Anam Federal Constituency, Akwa Ibom State, Unyime Idem. To realize this objective, Idem stated that no effort should be spared to ensure prompt monitoring and surveillance of federal government procurement procedures in the ongoing projects across the 6 geopolitical zones. The House also urged the Bureau to collaborate with relevant stakeholders, including ministries, departments, and agencies, civil society organizations, and the National Assembly, to enhance the provision of a legal and constitutional framework and professional capacity for public procurement in Nigeria for the holistic development of the country. Nigeria has received 846,000 doses of a groundbreaking malaria vaccine from development partners to reduce the country's high incidence of the disease, especially among children and other vulnerable groups. Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Mohamed Pate, said the vaccines are expected to play a pivotal role in lowering malaria-related deaths. Pate said Nigeria is the 3rd African country to introduce the vaccine, following Ghana and Kenya, which began using it in 2023. He said the vaccine will significantly boost the country's ongoing malaria elimination efforts. Pate also said the vaccine rollout will begin in high-burden regions before expanding nationwide. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has expressed his heartfelt condolences to the families of those who died in the unfortunate fire incident in Majia town in the Taura local government area of Jigawa State following the explosion of a petrol-laden tanker. Governor Sanwo-Olu also sent a note of sympathy to his colleague, Governor Umar Namadi, friends and associates of the victims, as well as the people and government of Jigawa State. He said the unfortunate incident has left yet another scar in the minds of millions of Nigerians, adding that no nation or people could afford to experience this kind of tragedy without its effect on the social and psychological well-being of the people. Sanwo-Olu offered prayers for the victims and their families, Governor Umar Namadi, and the citizens of Jigawa over the tragic loss of their fellow residents. And now to foreign news. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced that the EU could draw lessons from a contested Italian policy of processing migrants offshore in Albania as leaders of the 27 member states hold an EU summit focusing on migration. Ahead of the Brussels summit, Leyen wrote to EU leaders to say the EU's executive will present a new proposal for legislation to increase deportations of migrants. Italy started sending some migrants to a processing center in Albania earlier this week. 16 men were transferred to the Albanian port of Shenzhen, but hours after their arrival, it emerged that 2 were minors and 2 more were medically vulnerable and will therefore be returned to Italy. Other EU countries have started considering ways to process migrants in third countries. Now sports. South Africa has defeated Australia in the semi-final at the T20 World Cup in Dubai. Australia missed out on an 8th final appearance as South Africa reached their target of 135 with 16 balls to spare. Anneke Bosk struck a sensational unbeaten 74 from 48 balls, while captain Laura Wolfhard added a classy 42 in a second wicket partnership of 96 that left Australia reeling. The brilliantly executed run chase came after South Africa's bowlers had smartly restricted Australia to 134-5 in a curiously underwhelming innings. And that's all for the news at 9. Always carry out proper and adequate checks on your vehicles before setting out. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms on X at Traffic Radio 961, Facebook Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram Lagos Traffic Radio 961, on YouTube. Subscribe and watch us live on our channel Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website on www.trafficradio961.ng. Did you know that the Sanwo-Olu administration supplied 86,000 dual furniture sets to 775 public schools? You can get more details on the Lagos State Government website. To end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. In a bid to strengthen its financial inclusion policy, Lagos State Government has commenced the process of inculcating financial literacy for indigent women in hard-to-reach communities as an integral part of the Sustainable Development Goals. The House of Representatives has urged the federal government to increase the yearly budgetary allocation to the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP, to enable it to effectively discharge its constitutional mandate. We also told you that European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has announced that the EU could draw lessons from a contested Italian policy of processing migrants offshore in Albania, as leaders of the 27 member states hold an EU summit focusing on migration. And in sports, South Africa has defeated Australia in a semi-final at the T20 World Cup in Dubai. For contact with the newsroom, please send a message to info@trafficradio961.ng. And that ends the news broadcast compiled by Zainab Adibashin. I am Akan Usen. Thanks for listening and please stay safe. Good evening.